On this episode of Code Blue in America, your go-to segment for fiery headlines, we turn our gaze to Harvard University, where Harvard President Alan Garber has fired back at former President Donald Trump's recent attacks on the university, calling them not just bewildering, but genuinely harmful to national progress. Garber, speaking on NPR's Morning Edition, questioned the wisdom of cutting federal research funding as a way to combat anti-Semitism, arguing that science labs aren't exactly where culture wars are won or should be fought. Why cut off research funding? When in reality, according to Alan Garber, it doesn't just sting Harvard, it sets the nation back. Trump must have missed the memo. Most of the groundbreaking research and discoveries that have put the US military and American corporations at the top of the world started in universities like Harvard.
Harvard is an American institution that is engaged globally, and I wouldn't want to change that. It's in the interest of the university, it's in the interest of the nation.
What would you say to someone in the middle of the country, where I come from, where you come from, who is listening to us and maybe thinking, I really don't have a stake in this. I didn't go to Harvard. I'm not sending my kid to Harvard. I really don't like Harvard that much. And Harvard deserves what they're getting, or in any case, it doesn't matter much to me. What would you say to somebody who has that attitude?
I would ask them to learn a little bit more, not only about Harvard, but about universities like Harvard, that is, research universities. There's so many discoveries that have come from Harvard and other research universities. Advances in cancer, in treatments of cancer of all kinds. A faculty member of ours just got the Breakthrough Prize for work that led to the discovery of GLP-1 drugs, which are now revolutionizing how we approach obesity, diabetes, and many other conditions. Another one of our faculty received the Breakthrough Prize this year for advances in gene editing, which is already being used to cure diseases. This is a huge part of what we do. Everybody benefits from the research work of universities like ours.
When President Trump says, as he did this week, that Harvard's grants ought to go to trade schools instead, how do you respond to that?
I would say that the federal government has the authority through the budgeting process to reallocate funds. But the question to ask is, what problem is he trying to solve by doing that?
So, unless someone is actively trying to cripple the United States and make Russia and China great again, this fight isn't going anywhere good for the president. Also, spoiler alert, Nobel Prize-winning gene editing research doesn't grow on political trees. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Word on the street, or rather the ever-busy rumor mill, is that the president's long-standing vendetta may have roots in his own rejected application to Harvard. You know, the same place he constantly jabbed at Obama for attending. You know, folks, Harvard alumni envy is real. Now, rumor has it that not only his sons, but also young Barron, got the old thanks but no thanks from Harvard and a few other Ivy League schools. Coincidence? Or maybe there's just a mysterious anti-Ivy gene floating around in the family tree. Who knows? These are just rumors, of course. I'm not confirming or denying anything, just whispering it loudly. So, going back to Harvard president here. As the academic dust settles, Garber continued to sound the alarm, not just for Harvard, but for campuses nationwide. He warned that limiting international students and yanking grants is like trying to fix a leaky faucet by blowing up the house. From accusations of non-compliance to the weaponization of cultural grievances, he painted a picture of higher ed under siege. He acknowledged real problems like anti-Semitism and free speech tensions, but insisted the solutions need scalpel-like precision, not sledgehammer policymaking. And while the criticism may come cloaked in patriotism, Garber argued it's the country itself that stands to lose when we treat universities like ideological battlegrounds instead of engines of progress. As he put it, Harvard exists to serve the nation, even if the nation occasionally treats it like a piñata. Mr. President, even your own fan club is starting to cringe. Some of the sharper MAGA crayons think you're beef with Harvard and other US Universities is about as wise as your tariff tango. In other words, you're shooting yourself in the foot with a bazooka. Case in point, Kevin O'Leary, the Shark Tank shark and card-carrying Trump fan, isn't buying the anti-Harvard hype. On Fox Business, he basically told you to cool it, pointing out that his Harvard students aren't exactly plotting America's downfall. They're too busy trying to build the next billion-dollar startup in America. I want them here. I've already invested in 2 of them, he said, practically waving a little "Make Capitalism Great Again" flag. Harvard, by the way, is practically an international summit, with nearly 7,000 foreign students chasing the American dream harder than a Cyber Monday sale. Sure, a judge has temporarily hit pause on your plan, but this legal rodeo isn't over, and neither is the head scratching from your own supporters. Watch for the next hot-button breaking news on Code Blue in America, only on ogmnews.com. Before you dash off, go ahead and smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us everywhere: Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Heck, if you're feeling retro, send us a carrier pigeon or a smoke signal. Stay awesome, stay witty, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.